Hey everybody, welcome back to another Saturday afternoon live stream. I just pretty much got off the phone literally 10 seconds ago. And here we are. So looks like we have 8 people here and 3 likes. So thank you very much. I appreciate that for the likes. Please smash the like button if you haven't already. Let me know who's here. Say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're from. Let me know what the weather looks like by you. We got really crappy weather going on right here. Not a very motivating day. It was a little tough to get out of bed today to get to the gym, but I managed. Workout was so-so. Not one of my better ones, but as the routine went on, we were good to go. So anyway, here we are, Saturday. I believe it's October 11th, 12 noon, a little earlier start time today because we are meeting up with some old friends down in South Carolina later on this afternoon for dinner. Friends that we knew from way back in the early 2000s. We spent a lot of time with these people up in upstate New York on the Finger Lakes, on Cayuga Lake to be specific, in Tremont Park. We lost touch with them when we first moved down 11, 12 years ago. But they have since moved from upstate New York. They were in the Binghamton area. They have since moved to South Carolina, which is about an hour from us. So we reconnected almost 2 years ago and been getting together. So we're having dinner with them later. So I just wanted to make sure that I get the stream in and I still have plenty of time to commute down to where they are and spend a nice evening with them. So welcome everyone. Hope you're all doing well. How's the weather by you guys? I know heading up the East Coast towards the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, there's that storm. We were supposed to get it, but we're getting maybe 20, 30 mile an hour wind gusts, nothing severe. I hear the worst of it is coming up the East Coast of the United States. So anyway, let's take a look and see who's all here. Let's go to the comments. Hi, Jeremy. Jeremy's working again today. May not be able to join. We have volunteers coming to move furniture today, so he might be a little preoccupied. No worries whatsoever. Hey, I was glad I was at least able to stop in and catch the second half of your members-only stream last night. So, had some fun there. Ali, welcome. I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back to the stream. Hey, Tim, welcome. Glad to see you here. Appreciate it. I'll be talking about you a little bit and some testing you did. Morning, Grish. Welcome. Joe says you can hear the security cam. Well, we'll put an end to that. There. Sorry about that. And speaking of Joe and the security cam, let's do this.
Hey, Josephus! Josephus is in the house. Welcome, Josephus.
Okay, that never gets old. Speaking of Joe, we just had a nice conversation prior to the stream. It was good chatting with you. Hey, Mike, how are you? Glad to see you in the stream, driving and listening. Cool. I have an update for you, Mike. Nothing earth-shattering, but a little bit more of an update on the GWN 7672 testing. Yep, the frogs and the birds were the video camera. I was expecting a delivery. I was kind of had the front porch camera open on the screen so I could keep an eye to see if the delivery came. However, I didn't realize that you were hearing the mic. Sorry about that, guys. Hello, Ashley. Long time no see. Welcome. Thank you for being here. You know, it feels like I'm in the rainforest. It's been raining since about 2 a.m. this morning. I don't mind it when we're sleeping, but It's actually quite comforting and peaceful to hear the raindrops on the house when I'm asleep. But the sound you were just hearing was the front porch camera. Thank you, Joe, for that. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a little different. We'll talk about, we'll talk about a couple of the minor tweaks I made this week from last week when I introduced it. Yes, ambiance. Hopefully not quite as warm this week, Grish. I loved how everybody thought I intentionally was going for like the fall look last week. I should have just run with that and said, yep, glad you picked up on it. But we made some adjustments. Hopefully it's not quite as warm. Well, if you still hear the birds chirping, Tim, then it's something, because you shouldn't be hearing anything at this point. Great set, Tim says. The more you see it, the better it looks compared to the previous one. Thank you. I appreciate that, and I agree with you. Good afternoon, Bluey, or should I say good morning or good evening, depending on where you all are from, folks. So thank you for being here. TVJ, welcome. TVJ says, I don't see any glare in your glasses. What did you change? We'll talk about that in a few. It's actually a funny story. Good evening or afternoon, Dick Rooney. And yes, I am a grandpa. Good things, I hope. Yes, sir. Birds gone to sleep. Joe in the house. Yes. Okay. So, made a couple of minor tweaks for those of you who were here last week, not last year. And TVJ, I'm drinking my iced coffee. Spoke with Joe over the week. If you remember last week's stream, he had said he had a couple of suggestions, minor ones. We chatted during the week, and I kind of made the suggestions based on his advice. So it looked like the color was very warm last week. So what I did was to accentuate the lighting a little bit, because he thought the skin tones were a little red and the lighting looked a little flat. So I moved the key light, which is up here, a lot closer to me, and raised it up, made it slightly brighter. So it's actually a little bit more concentrated on me as the subject. I moved the fill light more to my side, so it's kind of just hitting the side of my face. And it seems like it's helping out as far as a little background separation from the subject. I also moved the blue accent light that I showed you last week that I had down on the floor. I moved it up on a box. It's about a foot higher than it was. And I also played with, I don't know, Joe, if you noticed, but that thing that we were talking about when I sent you the pictures, the befores and the afters above my head, I've kind of mitigated that a little bit. It's not completely gone, but it looks better. I was just playing with the flaps on the LED panel to better direct the light that's shooting on the wall. So I think I kind of have it. As it looks like it's the best I'm going to get it. So anyway, so I moved that light up. What else did I do? Oh, and I added the Elgato LED strip underneath the sound panels, because that area to me looked just a little too dark. I wanted to do something there, but I didn't want to do anything, overpowering. So those are the changes I made to the lighting. I hope it looks better. I hope it sounds better. I have the new mic stand here. I'll give you a closer look at that if my handheld phone works this week. But I was able to still keep the RE320, but instead of having the big shock mount come down and pretty much dominate the picture, I got this low profile mic arm from Gravity. So yeah, so those are some of the changes I made with the lighting. Now, to address the glare, here's the story. Distance glasses, and you can see the glare in the distance glasses. Reading glasses, not so bad with the glare, not like the distance glasses. And then these are my everyday glasses, and these are progressives. And this is the first year I've tried progressives. I've tried them about 30 years ago, couldn't get used to them. I felt like I was living in a fishbowl, so I gave them back after 3 days. Joe asked me last week in the stream, for those of you that were here and remember, if my glasses had that anti-glare protection on them. And I said, yes, they do. However, I wasn't wearing them. I was wearing these. So now you see the difference. So I answered, yes, my glasses have the anti-glare, but I had the wrong glasses on my face. But that's typical. So that's what I did to adjust the glare. I did play with the angle of the lights a little bit. I did slightly play with the angle of the monitors, but I mean it's the glasses that's making the difference. So anyway, let's see what we say here. The above the head shadow is really gone. Didn't even notice. Looks perfect. Thank you. Yes, I did end up changing the camera white balance. It was set originally to 5600 Kelvin because that's what these lights are. So I just assume match the camera to the lights. However, you had suggested that I need to drop it down, so I dropped it to 4600, and it looked a little too blue, as we discussed, and then so I went in the middle and I raised it back up to 5000 Kelvin, and it seems to be the sweet spot. How does it look though? I mean, does it look okay? Do the skin tones look okay? Let me know. Yeah, well, you know me and the glasses, Ash. TVJ says, I like the changes. Personally, the background is a little dark for me, but I'm not a fan of dramatic contrast. Gotcha. Yeah, and you know, this was kind of the look I was going for, TVJ. So it's exactly what I was shooting for. It's exactly what I wanted. Much different from the last time, from the old set. Joe says to TVJ, you can't work in the news and want a dark background. True. Point. Skin tones look normal now. And that all depends on what the definition of normal is, right? But yeah. So anyway, let's see. We have 14 people here. Wow, 9 likes. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. So we talked a little bit last week before I get into the poll and what's been going on with Synology, which most of you probably have heard. And by the way, let me real quick just text Lisa downstairs and let her know that there's a package coming, and if it comes, to text me. Give me 1 second. Okay. There. So before we get into all that, I lost my train of thought. Package, Synology. Oh, well, it'll come back to me. Let's try this. Let me see if I can get this handheld cam to work. Let me just show you what I did between the mic arm. I'll show you a closer look at the mic arm, and I'll also show you the rig now that I have for the overhead camera. I changed that as well. That all that stuff that I had ordered last week did come in. The question is, will this decoder work properly this time. Let's see. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about when I lost my thought. I was going to talk about the 10,000 view stream that got me 127 subs. A little follow up on that. Let's see if this thing connects. It says connected. And I see it. Yay. Okay. Let's move over. I don't have the wireless go on, so I'm going to try not to leave the seat and just navigate from here. So let me come over here. Okay, so this is the Gravity mic arm. Nice low profile. It wasn't expensive. It was like $52, $53. It also comes with an extension pole if I wanted to raise it up and bring the mic arm down. But it works with the RE320 pretty well, and it's pretty sturdy because the RE320 is a pretty heavy microphone. And then I have the sidebars going up, the poles, the posts going up to the crossbar. And then you can see the camera there. I'll get up and give you a closer look at the camera and how it's up there. Comes down the other side and goes behind the monitor. So I have this crossbar right up above the desk, which is cool because I could put other type of attachment arms if I need to add anything to it. But if we take a closer look, here's the actual super clamp. Let's see if I... So there you go. So we have the super clamp, Manfrotto super clamp, holding the camera on, and then I have my speakers up, which I didn't have last week. So I have my two speakers up on pile stands. There's the other one there. It's a little dark, but you can see it hopefully. So I'm happy that the D350 decoder cooperated with me this week. So yeah, they're up a little higher, but I have them angled down. And when I edit, because my big monitor's over here in front of me, when I edit, I'm facing this way anyway. So I am kind of getting that triangular formation with me in the middle. So it's working. So let's see, back to the comments. By the way, there's a poll running in the chat. So if you haven't already answered the poll, please do so, and we'll get into a little conversation on that. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but thought it was kind of big news this week, and I thought it was worthy to bring up. Let's see. It's funny that when the birds were chirping, your plant was blowing, so it really did look like rain, the rainforest. Yeah, that's the other thing too. I raised up the plant about 6 inches as well, just to give a little bit more separation, because with it lower, and then before I made the lighting tweaks and the white balance tweaks, everything looked just a bit crowded to me. So I raised the plant up as well. And those air conditioning vents are right up on the top. So there's two of them within 4 feet. So if the plant was blowing, it's because the air was running. I keep the air in this room set to 78, and it's comfortable this time of year, especially when it's raining out and it's cold and danky. It works. Let's see. Yes, that's the AC blowing the air. Jay is saying that gets into broadcast standards versus YouTube standards. Yes. Bluey, I like the background lighting. Was that LED there last week? No, it was not. In the old studio setup, I used to have a chair behind me and a big TV, like a 40-inch TV. That was my multi-view, and I used to run that strip across the floor. I had just laid it on the floor, and I used to light it up with either the blue lights, like you see here, or sometimes the lime green color. So the accent light on the floor was doing a decent enough job with the blue accents, so I wanted to utilize those lights somehow, and it was perfect just to put them up on the wall like that and run them underneath the sound panels. When I say the skin tones are normal, I mean it looks like you, since I know what you actually look like. And Joe is saying correct to TVJ, acknowledging. Okay. Sometimes the YouTube standards, and this is Grish, sometimes the YouTube standards bleed over to broadcast. Weird seeing people with YouTube studios give news interviews, probably Zoom ISO. They are dark, news is bright. I like the contrast myself. Yep. Can that mic arm get longer, or is that at max? No, it can get longer. Well, I have the wire all tied down, but it does pop open and it could extend. Let me see if I can do it. Sorry if you're hearing any noise or banging. I'm gonna undo the straps for the moment. So it's coming way out. So that's it, fully extended. That's fully extended. And then there's about another 4 inches where it can go on the main arm. It could extend about another 4 inches on the main arm. So I'll tie it up later. I won't touch it to make too much noise. Made it for a few. Not sure how long I can stay. No problem, Jeremy. I know work comes first. Work before pleasure. Mr. Tim Tech, what is the big monitor brand and model? The big monitor is a Samsung 49-inch curved monitor. The exact model, Tim, I'll signal you during the week, let you know. It's a great monitor for editing, but I don't regret buying it. But it takes up so much real estate. I had a really difficult time trying to figure out how I wanted to lay out the studio, this new look. If I had just another 24 or a 32, two 32s or two 24s, probably for the YouTube stuff, probably would have been better. And I should have just separated out and used the 49 for an editing station in another part of the room. But I use the Mac Studio. That's the hub. That's the hub behind this whole desk, right? So that's my editing computer. It's my streaming computer. It's everything. So having two separate workstations, one for doing videos and one for going live, and then, the same one for videos and going live, and then one for editing, wasn't really an option. So I tried to optimize it the best I could. If I could do it all over again, I probably would have not bought the 49, and I probably would have gone with, like, say, two 32s. But anyway, live and learn. Also, I have been MIA this week. What is the summary of the Synology saga? Yep, we're going to get to that in a minute. Hello, Keith. Welcome. Glad you can make it. Made some changes to the studio, minor changes, Keith, in lighting and things like that, white balance, just to kind of dial it in a little bit more. Thanks to suggestions from Joe. I appreciate it. How long estimate is the max mic arm? That's really cool. I think it came out, I would say, fully extended to where it came out to, probably about 40 inches, 42 inches. Pretty long. Wonder if I can look that up. Let me just see if it says it in this where I bought it. Come on. But I would say between 42 and 44 inches. Just let me get logged in. There it is. I'm not sure if it says it, but we'll see. Here, let me switch. Let me get this off. Okay. So, yeah, the gravity stand MS0200 SET1 5279. To expand or customize, I'm looking to see if it says anything about how far it expands. Let's see. Item details. All right. Features and specs. Let's see. Clamp. What's in the box? Product description. Let's see. It's height adjustable from 370 millimeters to 600 millimeters. Pole offers more room to clamp your favorite. The 3/8 thread allows you to expand the bar with a gooseneck, for example. But it doesn't say exactly what the extension is. So I'm going to get, sorry about that. I'm going to guess, like I said, between 42 and 44 inches. So anyway, I do not have a hair or separation light on me, Keith. I like the way the set looks right now. I mean, it might help, but I think I'm going to leave it as is for now. Does it appear as though I have, let me ask you that, does it appear as though I have a hair or separation light on me? Thank you, Joe. 17 people here, 13 likes. Appreciate you all. Yeah, Tim, I'll get you the number on that. And I have the links to everything that I bought, like the rig and the mic arm. So if anybody's interested, let me know. Hey, Unky Joe, welcome. The affiliate link to the mic stand. Yes, hold on. And there you go, my friend. Okay. Let me take a quick look at the poll. 17 people here. We have 14 votes. So the poll says, what's your take on Synology reversing its controversial hard drive lock policy? 79% say great, happy that they did it, but users should come first. 2 people said too late, damage already done. Well, not 2 people, 14%. That was answer number 2. 7% say makes business sense, and then 0% said I preferred the lock. I couldn't fit the whole answer because the YouTube polls limit you to X amount, like 100 characters, I think, for each option, each answer option. But the whole answer for the number 4 was I prefer the lock, better compatibility and support. And again, that kind of goes together with number 3 on a business sense. I understand fully wanting to streamline your tech support on an item. I remember being in the school district. We constantly, as the director of IT, I constantly got phone calls from parents. I constantly had the board members. I constantly had the superintendents over the years come to me and say, we have this parent that wants to donate 2 laptops or a desktop. And most of the time we refused because what they were donating just didn't fit into our plan. We were a very small department. There was only 3 of us. And we only had one technician to cover 4 buildings. And then we had a network admin, and then there was me. And we ordered, when we ordered laptops or we ordered Chromebooks, and by the way, we were a Mac district, so giving us PCs, giving us old Windows desktops wasn't something that we could utilize, like, let's say, in our finance or our business office, because obviously they were on Windows. We would typically take the donation so that the parent could have a tax write-off at the end of the year, or refuse the donation altogether, depending on the situation. But never, if we did take it in, we never really utilized it because we just didn't want to branch ourselves out. If we supported Chromebooks and MacBooks, we were supporting and repairing and updating and running new images during the summer, getting ready for the school year on these devices. We didn't want to have this Dell random unit here and this HP random unit here. And so I understand that from a business sense, from a support sense, and a compatibility sense, keep kind of everything in line and streamlined, but not a lot of people saw it that way. We'll let the poll run a little bit more. My feelings on the whole Synology piece, that they decided to reverse. So if you're not familiar, if you haven't heard, I did put out a short earlier in the week. Synology, with the release of DSM 7.3, it's more geared towards business in the sense of there's a lot of AI options and features in it, but it also brought back the ability to use your unverified third-party hard drives, even in the 2025 models. Now, my feelings on that is I'm kind of happy they did that, because I have a couple of customers out there that have NAS upgrades, and I was really upgrades coming up that are running older models, and I was really contemplating, now, do I move them to Ugreen? What do I do? So I think, well, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. This just makes it a little easier, even at my level of business. I feel for the people who purchased older prior to 2025 models in 2025, just not to deal with the being forced into the hard drive lock. So for those people, I'm empathetic, because they spent money thinking and they have a new device that's not maybe a 2025 year, and now Synology reversed it. Then you also got the other side of the coin. You got the users who ended up purchasing Synology drives because of their allegiance to the company, and they figured, I'm just going to suck it up and buy the drives. So they bought these drives. And again, on the business side of things, like I know Joe and I, you've had this conversation on a business side, and especially for what you're doing, Synology hard drives 100% all the way. But for home labbers who went out and bought Synology and paid the premium for Synology drives because of this hard drive lock, to now have it, like if I did that and now 6 months later to have it overturned and reversed, I'd be a little pissed. I'm not going to lie. So that's what's going on. They also introduced something called tiering, which we'll take a look at. I do want to bring up the press release and then also the knowledge base article on the tiering, because it's kind of a different concept. It's kind of cool, actually. I'm not going to be able to test that out at this point because, well, we'll get into it when we go through the release. Let's go back to the comments. Let's quickly take a look. And I got to just keep an eye on time as well. Okay. All right, so there's the affiliate link for the mic arm, and it's in the chat. Creates more depth. Black shirt blends. No, it does not look like you have one, just lights in front of you and on the side. Yep. Welcome. And I hope I don't butcher your name. Magog. What camera am I using? That is a Sony FX30 with a Sony 15 millimeter, believe 1.8 lens on it. Mike says, my Drobo needs to get retired. Was going to go with Synology, but then when they did the drive lock, it pushed me towards building my own with TrueNAS. Yeah, and I'm sure you weren't the only one, Mike. So anyway, if you would indulge me, let me bring up. So Joe, to answer your question, that's what's going on with Synology. They backpedaling a little bit, it appears. So let's go here. It's interesting. So these are the release notes for version 7.3-81180. Obviously, after installing the update, you're not able to downgrade to a previous version of DSM. If auto update does not run, you could perform a manual update in the control panel. So this is one of those tiered rollouts where it's not going to all just populate on your Synology right away. It might happen over weeks, but you can go to Synology.com to the support section and download the PAT file for your particular model. It actually says here, to uphold our commitment to quality, every DSM release undergoes rigorous validation. To ensure stability, the models listed below will not receive this update on the device and will remain on their most suitable version. You can download the upgrade patch from Synology Download Center. So you got these here, the FX series, certain models. I'll put a link to this in the chat if you haven't seen this release and you have some of the older 16, 17, 18 models. In fact, let me, before I forget, let me copy this now and put it in the chat. So this is the 7.3 release. And it's funny because nowhere in the release notes does it say that it brought back the use of unverified third-party drives. But I've seen a couple of videos where Will from Space Rex and Robbie from NAS Compares, they've actually created volumes with third-party drives on the 2025 series. So the value series as well, the J series. And then for models, for the following models, and again, some of the older models and the XS series and the Plus series, DSM-7 will be the last upgradable version. So again, which makes sense. My DS216 Plus 2 is 9 years old at this point. How far are you going to push it? You know, a lot of people were saying things like, well, you know, that's just marketing's way of forcing you into buying new gear. And to a degree, I believe that's true. But 9 years on a NAS, and if, you know, I've thought about upgrading the DS216 Plus 2 to DSM 7.3. I haven't made that decision yet 100%, but just for shits and giggles to see how an older device like that performs, because the device itself has been rock solid for the last 9 years. So again, you have the link in the chat. It lists the models that will not be upgradable past version 7.3. All right, so obviously, it goes through a bunch of the other things. What's new? Added option to postpone important DSM updates. So you guys can read this. It did add exFAT natively, so you don't have to download and install exFAT on its own anymore, which is nice. It fixed a bunch of issues here. So that's the press release. Let's go back real quick to the comments, and then I just want to show you the knowledge base article on the tiering. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to. I keep doing that. I haven't had a chance to play with the tiering, but it seems like a pretty cool feature. All right, let's see if we got any more. JC Dragon, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, we had to get a 12-bay expansion shelf for a unit for a client and had to fill it with Synology brand drives. Would have been nice. Exactly. This is what I was saying, to save $1,000 easy on other HDDs, but I get the support standpoint. Oh, Cecil, welcome. Before I forget, I'm going to drop a couple of links in the chat for you. I had them ready for you last week. These are from Tim on the 10 gig and 2.5 gig fiber transceivers. So let me just, before I forget to do that, let me paste them in the chat. So this is the 10 gig. I haven't gotten wait. Nope, the package has not arrived. And then let me give you the one for the 2.5 gig. And again, these are from Tim. These are UK-based affiliate links. I'm not sure where you're from, Cecil, but since you were asking Tim, I'm assuming you're from the UK as well. So there, I got that situated. Now I don't have to worry about that anymore. So, but welcome. Thank you for joining the stream. Let's see how this poll is doing. All right, so we have 17 votes now. 71% seem happy that they've reversed. 18% too late, the damage is done. 12% say makes total business sense. Okay, well, that's interesting. I expected the numbers not to be so weighted towards great that they're reversed their decision. I really thought we were going to see dominance in too late, damage done, because I tell you, there were a lot of angry people out there. A lot of folks were alienated by Synology's decision 6 months ago to do, to force the hard drive lock. So I'm surprised the numbers in the poll are what they are. So you are welcome, Tim. Thank you for sending them to me for him or her. I'm not sure if Cecil is male or female, but irrelevant. You have the links now. All right. That's that. Moving on, let me just mention tiering. So 2025 DS 7.3 also is introducing something called tiering. So I'm just going to read it and then I'll kind of summarize over it. Synology tiering automatically allocates less frequently used data to a remote Synology NAS. So it's going to basically, it's not the same as caching, but it's going to take your everyday data, from what I understand, that you use on a regular basis and keep it on a particular, like your main NAS, and then move the less frequently used data over to a secondary NAS. They're going to call them hot tiers and cold tiers. It says the local Synology NAS which the data are moved from and where the Synology tiering is installed. So it's almost kind of like hyper backup, where you have on the main NAS you're running hyper backup, and on the secondary NAS you're running hyper backup vault. Same concept you'll see as we go through the article. And I'll put the link to this article as well if you want to check it out in there as well. I'll put it in the chat. So the hot tier is the main NAS, and that's where the Synology tiering, I guess, app will be installed. The cold tier, the remote Synology NAS, where the data is moved to and where Synology tiering vault is installed. So again, like I said, hyper backup vault. So Synology tiering vault. We suggest using a Synology NAS with generous storage capacity. Do not modify or delete tiered files or their folders when accessing them from the cold tier. Modified or deleted data may be corrupted and can't be brought back to the hot tier. And then the folders are automatically created on the remote device. And then they have something that they're calling stubs, which is basically a placeholder for the data on the main. So the data that's been moved over to that cold tier has what's called a stub, a virtual placeholder on the main NAS. So it says when a stub is accessed, it brings back the content from the cold tier for the user. The stub will become invalid if the actual content is not present in the cold tier or if the cold tier is disconnected from the hot tier. So let me make sure I do this correctly. Oh, I didn't bring that up on screen anyway. I was on screen. I'm sorry that you didn't see that, but I kind of went over everything with you that I wanted to mention, and you have the link in the chat. So anyway, that's what's going on with Synology, and we'll see what this week brings as far as Synology, because they seem to be in the news on a weekly basis. But anyway, I kind of feel that this last announcement with DSM 7.3 was a big deal. So even though it may have alienated a lot of people, I think they they felt the impact most likely, because why would they reverse? But that's just speculation. Oh, okay. Thanks, Cecil. You're welcome. Yep, Tim's correct. You should be able to change the Amazon location. Very cool. And Tim, again, thanks for doing that. All right, speaking about Tim, Mike, and he's in the chat as Chow. So just to update everybody on the Grandstream GWN 7672 PPSK issue. Just to summarize, if you were using the 7672 with PPSK, if you signed on to, let's say you had the PPSK set up by VLAN, so like I did in my video. If you signed on to the guest VLAN using the password for the PPSK password to put you on the guest VLAN, if you took the device and signed on to another Wi-Fi network, be it out in public, be it in a friend's house, whatever, and then came back to the original location and went to sign in. So in Mike's example, he had guests, I assume, in his house is the way I understood it. And when they were visiting, they were on his guest network. And when they left, if the visit was over and then they came back the next time, when they signed on to the guest network, it automatically put them on the trusted or the main network without the phone having any awareness of what that main network was, because it had never been on it. So I did some testing here. I mentioned it in last week in the stream. My results were that the 7672 did exactly the same thing that it did for Mike. When I demonstrated PPSK in the live stream before the video came out, I was using the forget network option on the iPhone. So in that situation, if you forget the network, it was putting me on the proper VLANs. But for some reason, if you didn't forget the network and the device stored that network, then it would put the user, when they came returned, it would put the user back, but on the wrong VLAN. So I was able to simulate those results 100% exactly as Mike experienced them. So then I asked Mr. Tim Tech, and check out Tim's channel, by the way, folks. He does a lot of Grandstream, great Grandstream videos as well. Tim had mentioned to me in a Signal chat that he was expecting a GWN 7672, and after seeing the stream and hearing the issues with Mike and then what I had here going on with the testing, he offered to do some testing. He got back to me this week. In fact, let me see. I'm going to read what Tim said. If I can find it. Okay. All right. It's here. I just got to find it. Okay. I think I got it. Okay. I've had some time to test out the PPSK issue on the 7672, and I can confirm exactly the same thing happened. I used the PPSK password for VLAN 3 and then disconnected. Upon reconnecting, it put me into VLAN 1, even though my phone does not know VLAN 1 PPSK password. So that's 3 of us now. Mike, myself, and now Tim. I've been in touch with Willie because we've been meeting on a regular basis on Sunday mornings to work on some collaborations. And Willie also offered to do some testing. I told him, well, Tim was testing. Let's see what Tim's results are. So maybe I'll reach out to Willie. But I think at this point with 3 people, it warrants opening up a ticket with GrandStream. So I will get to do that this week. Hopefully it's just a simple software fix, Mike, and things should get resolved. But thank you for bringing that to my attention weeks ago. And, you know, we didn't come up with a solution, but at least it looks like we've been able to document a bit of a problem. So thanks for that. Speaking about my PPSK video, so that video went nuts in the first week. It's up to 10,600 views. I got 127 new subscribers from that video. It leveled off after 1 week. It hit 1,000. I released it on a Tuesday. By the following Tuesday, it had hit 10,000, and then 10.1, 10.2, 10.3. It leveled off. You know, it wasn't on that rocket ship ascend anymore. But hey, I am not complaining. Trust me, I enjoyed the ride. I was curious to see how my subsequent video did, the one I released this past Wednesday. And it's obviously, I was not expecting it to do 10,000. That was just a fluke. But it's doing better for my channel than my typical video. I mean, it's almost up to 700 views in 3 days. And for my channel, that's pretty good. Normally, it's, like I mentioned last week, 150, 200, 300 views. So I'm not sure if there's something happening now with the channel a little bit, but I'm going to try to keep the momentum going and see where we go with that. That said, Tuesday morning, keep your eye out. I'm releasing a video on, the topic is, I did a video on Captive Portal a couple weeks ago. I did the video on PPSK, so to build on that, the video topic for Tuesday's release is Captive Portal versus PPSK, which is more secure. So it's something new for me as far as how I formatted the video and how I laid it out and how I recorded it. So I'm curious to see how it does, but I'm hoping it builds upon the little bit of momentum that I'm seeing. So in any event, that's the update there. So let's see, where are we? TVJ says, I think they realized they were not the only game in town. Yep, 100%. 100%. Thank you, Cecil. You are very welcome. And I appreciate your support on the channel and being here as often as you can. Yeah, no, you weren't going crazy, Mike. I thought the same thing. I was like, this is crazy. And I tested it not only on the GWN 7672, but I tested it on the GWN 7675, no issues. I tested it on the GWN 7670, no issues. I tested it on the GWN 7670 wall mount, no issues. Plug in the GWN 7672, and by the way, I did each series of tests with only one access point connected. Plug in the GWN 7672 and boom. So hopefully we'll get it resolved. Hopefully we'll get GrandStream on it and we'll get it resolved. But you're not going crazy, my friend. Cecil says, I set up WireGuard on GCC 6010. It's working, but when all my local traffic is going through the WireGuard tunnel. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a way to separate that. I have not explored that, but I'm pretty sure we can edit the client device file, and I'll put a line in there that will do a split tunnel. But I have not played with that, but I will hopefully look into that this week. JC Dragon says the PPSK video is helpful. I set my computer up, moving to a new Grandstream firewall and AP, and use that video to set up all of this VLAN. Super helpful. Well, thank you, JC. I appreciate that big time. Why not open a ticket now? Online? I could, but it's kind of a boring process. And they don't respond right away anyway. I'll get like a 24-hour to 48-hour window of response. I mean, you want to see me typing into a web browser into a Grandstream support ticket, I will, but I was planning on doing that on Monday. So, okay. There we go. All right, let's see. Did I cover everything I want to cover? I do want to show you an update on the deck. We made some good progress this week. It's starting to look like something. I'm excited. All right, so we talked about Synology. We talked about tiering on Synology. We talked about the minor tweaks in the studio. The GWN 7672 update. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got aside from the deck. Oh, no worries, Grish. I thought you meant like now. I'm like, yeah, that would be really boring. You know, I'm happy that three people are having the issue, in the sense only 2 people beyond Mike tested, myself and Tim. I wouldn't mind getting Willie's input from a standpoint of, did he have the problem? Did he not have the problem? I know my GWN 7672 is up to date to the latest firmware. My guess is that 3 of us are experiencing that. So my guess is that it'll probably happen for Willie too, because at this point I'm pretty convinced it is the GWN 7672 firmware or something with the software. I kind of feel when dealing with support in this fashion that if I can say, hey, it's not just me, but I can document 3 people, 4 people, all did the same testing, all experiencing the same results, it puts a little bit more weight, like there's power in numbers kind of deal. Because a lot of times, and I'm not saying this that Grandstream does this, but a lot of times I feel like when I call support, just any support, I kind of feel like they look at you like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong. And I feel just power in numbers. The more people that I can say are experiencing the problem, the more real it becomes. Yes, I'm almost to halfway. Loving my iced coffees. I'm down to 1 cup of hot coffee a day. That's the very first cup in the morning. I've stopped drinking milk in the hot cup of coffee. I drink it completely black now, which all my life I drank it with milk or cream or half and half of some sort. But I tell you, drinking it black is, you really get the true flavor of coffee. And really, after doing it now for about a month, I really look back at it going, God, the milk really ruined the taste of the coffee. I'm personally enjoying it so much better, drinking it the hot cup black. And then during the day, I will drink 1 or 2, usually 1 cup of iced coffee. We don't put sugar in it. We brew the coffee ourselves. We keep big plastic Tupperware containers of coffee in the refrigerator, 3 or 4 at a time. Just ice, the home brewed coffee, and then my wife bought something called like an Italian cream from Walmart. So it's a little flavored. It's got a little sweetness to it, but it's better than putting sugar in, and it tastes great. So let me see if that package arrived. No text yet. What's the inside joke on the iced coffee? I don't know, Joe. Your guess is as good as mine. I didn't realize there was a joke. I thought Jay was being serious about wanting another iced coffee. That tells you how much I know. You're welcome, Cecil. I appreciate it. Anytime. Grish says, I am the white glove IT support for energy traders. I deal with escalation all the time. It's a struggle getting them to understand that this is urgent or has a certain impact. Yeah, 100%. I totally appreciate that. What I find with support too is, in my past experiences, they'll say, well, let me see if I almost expect an answer from support. Maybe not the first level, but the second level and the third level as it gets escalated. In dealing with the support people, sometimes the engineers, I guess they call them, I kind of feel like they're feeling their way along with me as we go, just by the way they conduct themselves. I've had a few actual not Zoom, but like remote support calls on the phone with them while we're working together, sharing the computer, and just some of the things that they would say makes me think like they don't know either. They're just exploring, it's like wild. I would think, you go to the source, they're going to provide you the answer, but it's all trial and error. Yeah, I didn't think there was an inside joke. Oh, got it. Well, because last week on the stream, or 2 weeks ago, one of the streams at the very, very beginning, Jay said, "What are you drinking today, Tony?" Or "What's your drink of the day?" And I said, "I'm drinking," I think it was Crystal Light at the time. So that's why I figured I would just say what I was drinking up front. So got it. I get it now. All right. So we have still 16 people here. Wow. And 17 likes. Thank you, folks. Really do appreciate all of you. Give me a little support and love on Tuesday when the new video comes out. Let me know what you think about the format. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be fully transparent. I am leaning on OpenAI. I'm leaning on AI a little bit to help me. I normally don't script my stuff, but I'm having them help me with things like modifying the script idea. I'm having them help me with things like engagement boosters throughout the video. I'm having them help me like with the pinned comments and things like that. So, and what's really cool about it is, and I should have started using this earlier, is not only do they recommend tips, but if you word it in such a way to say, give me an SEO optimized whatever, they come back with not only some script ideas, but also like production ideas as well. They'll tell you like where you should be using B-roll and what type of B-roll you should be. I've never done that up until recently. And yeah, it's been, I didn't do that for the PPSK video, which is funny because that video is probably my best short-term performing video of all time. But I'm finding that it's nice to get some fresh input based on your questions, interviews, and interactions. So, all right. Let's see. Yes, I wish it would too, because now you have my curiosity aroused. Let me look on the porch real quick. Maybe leave. A lot of times they come, they don't ring the bell. You don't even hear them on the porch. We'll look in the camera a little while later or walk outside and go, oh, there's a package. Lisa might not even be aware. So I'm going to bring up the rainforest again. Bear with me. You're going to hear, probably as soon as I launch the cameras, you're going to probably hear the mics again. But I want to see if there's anything on, just do it momentarily to see if anything's on the porch. How are we doing on time? 107. Doing good. Doing good. Surveillance station. All right, should start hearing the chirping. Nothing on the porch. Bummer. Okay. Let me get rid of that. So, all right, well, if it doesn't come, Joe, I will hold it until next week, and I will open whatever it is on the next stream, because I want to be surprised as well as probably everybody else. Just for those of you who are wondering, so the package was sent from Joe. He said he got a little something for me that should be arriving today. We were hoping it would arrive in the stream. I asked Joe if it would be safe to open in the stream, and he said yes. So if it does arrive today before I close up, great. And if not, we're going to do it next week. I have yet to try iced coffee, but here in the UK, it's not so popular. Maybe because summer lasts 2 days, so we need hot coffee. That's good, Tim. And Tim, really seriously, thank you for testing. I want to look up your channel real quick and drop your link in the channel, because I do appreciate that, what you did. In fact, I'll drop TVJ's in, and Keith, if he's still here. Not sure if he's here, but if there are other creators here, I'd be happy to share your channel links. Okay, here's Mr. Tim Tech. Let me look up TVJ. TVJ, copy. Paste. I see David Rivera with PE for Doers is here. Hi, David. Welcome. Came in right at the right time, David. Sharing creator links. All right, here's David's link from PE for Doers. Okay, TVJ, PE for Doers. Of course, I can't forget Capture the Concept. There we go. Check out Capture the Concept for all your video production, live streaming, creation needs. There we go. If there's anybody in the chat that I've left out, let me know. But I think I covered all the regulars. Jeremy from Practical IT. I know Jeremy might not be here, but Jeremy's another one of the crew. Totally don't mind helping my fellow creators. And Keith Bennett. Did I share Keith's? Not yet. TVJ, Tim, David Rivera, Capture the Concept. Let me get Keith Bennett. Life's Journey Productions. Where is it? Life's Journey Productions. There it is. Keith, I see another one coming up under your name. It's called Light Force Studios. Is that a new channel? Okay, and there's Life's Journey Productions. Ah, David said he went to the Vid Summit this past week. That's right, I forgot. Oh, I hope it was good. You said your head is spinning, so I'm assuming you got lots of information. Okay, there's all the creator links. You are welcome, TVJ, and I am still open to doing a collab together. So if you come up with any ideas or you want to brainstorm or you want to chat one night, I'm open for that. Hey, David. Yep, no problem. Tim says TVJ just gained another sub. I wonder who that is. And then David saying, my head is still spinning from Vid Summit 25 this past week. Wow. Now, this is your second time going to Vid Summit, correct, David? I do want to show you something. Let's see if they listed it yet. Yes, they did. Okay. So Grandstream just announced this past week their new outdoor access point, the GWN 7670LR, long-range dual-band Wi-Fi 7 access point bridge. Ideal for medium to large businesses that need to provide long-range coverage, 3.6 gigabits per second aggregate wireless throughput, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port, and a 2.5 gigabit SFP port. Cool. Integrated Wi-Fi 7 dual-band 2x2x2 MIMO with DLUL OFDMA technology, up to 350 meters, yada, yada, yada. Supports 256 concurrent Wi-Fi devices, advanced QoS. So, yeah, self-power adaptation upon auto-detection of PoE, and it's also got an embedded controller like most of the other Grandstream devices. I believe one of these is being earmarked for me, but I'm not sure when it's going to arrive. But I just wanted to share that they released that. There's some cool things coming out with Grandstream, but I'm not at liberty to say at this point, but I'm looking forward to Q1, Q2, 2026. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, let's see where we're at here. David says they crushed 3 days into 2. Wow. Yeah, that's like information overload. Joe's asking if David saw any of his favorite creators. TVJ's love to do something. Well, we'll figure it out, TVJ. Tim, same goes. I know we've talked privately, but if you still want to do the collab, be open to it. Yes, it was David's second time. Joe says it got delivered. Then it's in my mailbox. So if that's the case, I'll go down and get it in a second. Well, Jeremy says, well, I've had the stream playing on my phone, but haven't heard much since you've had so many people in and out today. Since we've had so many people in and out today, I'll get back to see the whole thing after work. No, I appreciate that. Tim is interested to bridge 2 of the 7670 LRs. Yeah, I asked for two of them, but Brian said I could only get one. But stay tuned. JC Dragon, who is all signed up for the Grand Stream webinar coming up this week, Thursday at 10? I am. You're going to be there, JC? Cool. 2021 was better. However, every presentation had at least one nugget of gold, except one of the keynotes delivered by the VidSummit executive manager. Huh. Oh, cool, Tim. You'll be there as well. Awesome. It's on the porch. Joe has the picture. I just checked, Joe. I just checked the camera. So they must have come as soon as I turned it off. And David says, I did not see any of my favorite creators. Yep, only one. Okay, let's real quick. I'll go down and get it, but let me just real quick confirm. 16 people here, 18 likes. We'll check the poll again because then I see the numbers changed a little bit. And then I'll cancel the poll. You're going to hear the birds chirping again. Aha! Let me bring this over. Joe wasn't kidding. Check it out. There it is. It's right there. Sitting down on the porch. All right, we're going to go get it. Let me close this so we don't hear the birds and the wind and the chirping. All right, folks, on that note, I'm going to run down, get the package so that we can open it on the stream. So I'm going to do this. Let's see if I remember how to do this now. Yeah, cool. Let me kill the mic and I will be right back. Okay. You should be able to hear me again. Let me make sure I have audio. Yep. Okay. Move the laptop out of the way, and here we have the package. So let's do this, I guess, with the overhead. So let me switch to the overhead cam, and okay. There we go. Hope the lighting is okay. Let's grab my handy dandy opener from good old Dennis Pillow. And let's see what we have in the box. Okay. Drum roll, please. Should I look at it first? Joe said it's safe. I want to peek first anyway, so. Because I'm like a kid. Ooh. Very cool. Thank you. Very cool. Let me switch cameras and show this. See if the product view camera works better. Hold on. Let's do this, and let's do this. There we go. So let's see if I can read this in the Thank you, guys. Have you tried turning it off and back on again? 100%. In fact, isn't that my shirt? Let me see. Doesn't my shirt say how I fix stuff in IT? It says restart whatever isn't working. That's the first one. The second one says quick Google search. IT placebo effect. My mere presence has fixed the issue. So yes, this goes right along with my shirt. Have you tried turning it on and off again? And this is going to be my new coffee mug or drink mug for the stream. Thank you, Joe and Ashley. I appreciate it. Oh, look at this. We even have a metal straw. Very, very cool. And now there's two tops, it looks like. So let me see here. All right, so this screw or pull. Okay, that's a pull off, I think. Yep. Is there a... Oh, okay. Let's see if I can show this. So there are two different tops. Top down. All right, so the first top, you can see you can close for travel, take it with you, or even when I want to mix the coffee, I could put this top on. Mix in the creamer, I can close this and give it a shake to mix it up. And then this other top is just open, and it has the pass through for the straw. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm glad it came in the stream today. Yay, I have a brand new live stream drinking cup from Joe and Ashley over at Capture the Concept. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you both. Sorry our plans to go to NAB did not work out, but we'll do it at some point in time. So, thank you so much. Awesome. All right, let me bring this back in the mix. What I like about this new setup too is I can keep the laptop computer, and here you can see on the top down, It's like right in front of me. I can keep the laptop computer now right in front of me. It's not in view, but I could look at the comments. That way I'm no longer looking off to the side the way I was. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Wow, still 16 people here. Appreciate you all. Appreciate you all. Let's check out the comments. JC says going to try it at 7 my time when I'm normally getting out the door for work, so I'm going in early to watch the webinar at the office. Good deal. Welcome, Alonzo. Keep your eyes on the road. Meeting your wife for lunch is much more important than listening to Tony at Quick Tech Solutions, but I appreciate you popping in and listening. I will be working on a summary of my experience video this afternoon. Awesome. Looking forward to seeing it, David. Appreciate it. You can always mute the camera audio so you can keep an eye on it. Yeah, I know. But I would have to mute all the cameras because when I open up the viewer in Surveillance Station, it brings up all my cameras, so I'd have to click through them all and mute them. But yes, you are 100% correct, Grish. Let's see if it is out of breath upon... ha, Tim. Thanks. Actually, Tim, I'm in pretty good shape for my age. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. No, I didn't tally down the stairs. In fact, I ran back up the stairs because I didn't want to keep you guys waiting any longer. Is that an actual Yeti? I don't know. Certainly feels like a Yeti. I don't know. There's something on the bottom, but I honestly can't make it out. Hand wash only. Something camel. Polar camel. Okay. Hey, it looks like a Yeti, but what I like about it that the Yetis don't have is the ribbed area, the grip. It's pretty cool. Again, thank you guys. All right. I call that the IT proximity effect. Yep. Placebo effect, proximity effect. It's your cup. It's so your cup doesn't have... Oh. You don't like my summertime theme sandals? I appreciate it. Thank you again, guys. Absolutely. Love it. Joe says it's a Yeti duplicate. Yes, it is very cool. Thank you. Yep. It looks very close to a Yeti that I have as well. I figured that much. The phrase is perfect. By the way, I have the light on up top. Is it having any impact on the main image? I have it angled in such a way that it's giving me enough light to light up the desktop, but I don't really want it to impact this main shot. So, for example, just to show you how much it's lighting up the top down. And yet I feel like it's not really having that much of an impact on the main camera. So, in any event, let me know if you guys saw a difference in this main shot. I'm curious. So, and the funny thing is, though, it's facing away from me, so it's in front of me. And instead of just being... I'll use the mouse pad. It's a little flimsy, but... All right, instead of being just, like, facing down in front of me, it's facing away from me. in front of me up high. So it's pushing the light away from my face. Again, it's enough to light up the top down, but if I have it just facing straight down, then I saw an impact on my face. So in any event, that's that. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, still got 17 people here. Didn't think I'd go this long. I appreciate all of you. I'm not wrapped up yet. I do want to show you the progress we made on the deck. We are going for an hour and 33 minutes. Let me bring these 3 photos up. Okay. So let me get this off the screen. Ah, damn it. Let's do this. Hold on. That. And, oh, I see. I'm like having a brain fart right now with my video switcher. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Brain fart over. All right. So this is the picture I showed you last week. This was one of 2 pictures I showed you. This one and an overhead. So this is where we were last weekend. Then this week we got this one looks a little odd scale wise, but you can see we got quite a bit done. There's just a small section on the right side over by the windows that have to be put in. We put the 3 posts up, and again, it's the angle and the way I'm holding the camera. Trust me, it's plumb, it's square and level. Here's an angled shot. So I did help the gentleman with these 3 6x6 posts, and right now, and there are footings in the ground. They are braced. Each one's individually braced, and then we just have a couple 2x4s bracing them. He did that at the end of the day yesterday because of that pending storm and the wind gusts. So we're getting a delivery on Monday, and the delivery on Monday should have the remaining boards he needs to fill in this right side area here. And if those of you are noticing some of the boards are lifted, that's because they're not completely screwed down yet. So they will all be level and flush with the center divider bar. I don't know if you could see the center divider bar. No, you can't because the pole is blocking it. But we're getting a delivery on Monday. The remaining boards for the deck, as well as the top pieces to build the top of the pergola. So I am hoping, based on watching the progress as it came along to this point, I have my fingers crossed Thanksgiving. And that's not a knock. The gentleman is a hard worker. He's 73 years old. I give him a hell of a lot of credit for doing this. He's slow and meticulous, and I'm okay with that. So, I mean, I would be pleasantly surprised if it was done by the end of October, but I don't think so. My fingers are crossed for Thanksgiving. So, hey, look at that. I was able to do a camera switch without effing up. So, anyway. All right, 12 people here, 19 likes. That's my signal. Looks good, not impacting the shot. Thank you, Tim. I'm so glad it was delivered during the stream. Yep, me too. Are you able to paint the pressure-treated wood, or does it have to sit for a year? It's going to sit for a while, and then I'm not going to paint it, but we are going to clear coat it with maybe a tint of brown color to it, so it's not just clear, but we haven't decided on what that tint would be. Yep, appreciate it. Alonzo, thank you for stopping in. Yes, Lisa did approve the TV. To my surprise, I went downstairs and I said, well, TVJ and Joe and the bunch of the guys from the stream said, we need to put a TV out there. And she said, all right. And I was like, whoa, you feeling okay? No. Honestly, I started pricing them though. And the Sunbright would be the manufacturer that I would be able to get my hands on at a somewhat of a wholesale cost. And even at wholesale, super, super expensive. And then I got to do a little bit more research on them because I'm not sure. They have ones made for a lot of sun glare, and they have some made for like cloud coverage. So based on my yard and we have the sun sets in the west, I'm thinking I'm going to need the sun glare one. But I got to go down to like something like a 32 to a 40 inch to even be able to come close to afford one. Not that I can't afford the bigger one, but I just can't in my head spend that kind of money. So anyway, yeah, but yes, she approved it. So, and I teased her. I went downstairs and I said, well, you're getting a fan. So, you wanted electric out there for a fan. So I kind of want a TV. The guy said we should do a TV. I need it for when I stream from outside. She said, okay. I gotta love Lisa. She's the best. Can't wait for the outdoor stream. I will do an outdoor stream. And fortunately, Bluey, right in, let's see if I don't mess up now. Yeah, right in this room over here behind these windows on this wall going forward, I do have Ethernet jacks behind the TV, so I could, for a stream, run a long Ethernet cable out to wherever I decide to sit to, get me a nice hardwired connection so that the stream is solid. Or I do know somebody. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, yeah, no, we are definitely going to do an outdoor stream. In fact, I can't wait, especially with the weather getting nicer now. Be limited in what I can do. I'll probably just bring a laptop out and one of my small ATEMs. But it'll be fun. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Enjoy your lunch. Are you going anywhere good? Where you guys going? We're heading down to South Carolina right after this stream for dinner with some friends. Sounds like it's going to sit for a year while the finish is. Yep. Nah. I don't know. Electronic screens. We're going to have some sort of, going back to the image for a second. We're going to have some sort on this left wall. So if you were looking at, actually, let me go to the other picture. So looking at the actual deck, this wall over here going from this post back to the house, we will have some kind of privacy, whether it be a roll-up bamboo shade or whatever. We will put something there. This house is set forward enough that privacy is not an issue on this side, but and this house is set forward enough too. It's the house next to this house to the right that's back. So the houses, if you can imagine them, are staggered. So as far back as mine is, 2 houses away from me is that far back. So the privacy wouldn't be so much from my immediate neighbor to the right. It would be 2 houses down. So we'll probably do some sort of privacy on this side wall here going back to the house. Not the same situation on the left, looking at the back of the house, looking at the left side. Even though the immediate neighbor is pushed up, the neighbor next to her is also pushed up, and there's a lot of forestry going on over here. So privacy is not really an issue. So, yeah. Great question, though. Okay. Yep, yay for the TV. We have to tease me. You guys want a TV? We got to get a TV fund going. I'm just kidding. Yes for the TV. You know, realistically, out there for the amount of time I'm going to spend out there, I probably wouldn't get anything bigger than a 40. 40 would be plenty. Outdoor connection for RJ45. Tim, I thought about that. I seriously thought about that because I'm going to help the dude run the electric from the inside the attic. We're going to take it out of the attic and come through. And I thought while I was up there pulling that wire, I might just pull an RJ45 and encapsulate it in an outdoor box. So, yeah. All right, Bluey. Now I think we're getting crazy here. That's fun. Funny. Go fund me. Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, I could. Probably should do it that way. Are you, Joe? Do you have any experience with the outdoor TV? Or even TVJ, either one of you guys, do you have any experience with the outdoor TVs as far as the glare factor? I shouldn't say glare factor, but the ones that are designed for full sun versus cloud coverage. I didn't even know there was such a thing until I started to research it last week after the stream. So, yeah, does make sense. Yep, 100%. I'll have to look into that too. So, all right. Well, guys, it is 1:44. I got to get on the road no later than 2 o'clock, and I still have to get changed. I'm in my workout shorts still, so I'm going to bring this to a close. We got 19 likes today. I appreciate it. Let me close the poll real quick, go over the numbers one final time. What's your take on Synology reversing its controversial hard drive lock? 62% of you said great, they're happy about it. Users should come first. 24% said too late, damage done. 14% said makes business sense. And then 0% on the preferred lock. So on that note, everyone, I appreciate you all being here with me today and every Saturday. I think I'm going to stay on Saturdays for a while. Timing seems to be good. I seem to get a nice, decent number of viewers each week. So thank you all for always being here. I'm going to be doing another live stream giveaway. I haven't figured out what it's going to be. Something in the Ubiquity family, maybe an edge router, and I have a UAC LR unused, unopened, brand new. I have a brand new edge router, and I also have one of those Beam HDs that was only been tested in the lab. I might put that together as a package and give that entire package away. Just one winner, one drawing for my 25 when this channel hits 25,000 views, which should be very soon. We're almost at 24,900, so that'll be on the horizon. Keep an eye out for that. And that said, I want to wish you all a great rest of your weekend and a great week. Don't forget to watch, like, and share my Tuesday video, guest portal versus PPSK. Which one is more secure? Give me some feedback on the new format. And until next time, have a great rest of your weekend. Bye for now.